Um, Post-op.
Post-op.
Oh, post-op, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I slurred.
Usually I don't answer that question only because then girls within the community start thinking that you're trying to play this trannier than thou
This is
game.
why I asked the question because is there a pre and post-op
Ordinarily, I let
beef?
people think whatever they want because there are the elitists who
Right.
think if you don't have the surgery, then you're not genuinely trans. And then there are the girls who are happy not getting the surgery, but they still want to live their entire lives out as females. And I don't think that they should be penalized for that because
No pun
some,
intended.
yeah, right. Except for I mean, just for the fact that other girls decide to have the surgery and they don't. You know, but it becomes this hierarchy game within the community, and it
Is it
gets
really?
really catty. It gets really catty.
Because I know it was a while before the LGBT threw that T there too.
Yeah, I have beef with that. Why is the B before the T?
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
I don't know.
I mean, the people that can't pick a team.
Well, now we got the Q and we got the Q, the A. How did asexuals get in there? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. You know what? Those are allies.
Okay.
That stands for allies.
I thought it was
And then the
asexuals.
I is intersexed, which I agree should, you know, they deserve their letter.
What's intersex?
Intersexed is when you were born. It used to be what we called hermaphrodites,
Oh, okay.
except the proper terminology now is intersexed.
Oh, okay. So like, yeah. So hermaphrodites, like an Oriental, you don't say that anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. So you grew up in the South,
In a
New Orleans,
plantation family.
plantation.
Well, I didn't grow up on the plantation, but my family has owned sugarcane plantations in Louisiana going back a very long time.
Wow. That's kind of cool, and
And
in
I'm
your
an
case,
heir.
kind of not.
I'm an heir now because when my grandmother died, my father inherited. It's bound by a trust where only blood relatives can own the place. So
So
when
wait a
my
second. So there's a jackpot down
I'm
the road.
next in line.
Oh really?
I'm next in line to inherit my shares.
Oh,
But
what are you doing after the show?
actually, I have a friend who's a
I'm not
fantastic.
kidding.
But I would love to take you on a tour of the place. It's
I'm sure.
amazing. And there is like, it's almost like that weird lady that built the house with doorways to nowhere and stuff out here. Because one of my relatives, at some point, when you go halfway up the staircase,
Hmm.
there's literally a door frame and door in the wall to outside, but there's no way to step up to it. I mean, it's like purposeless. And then right next to that, they found a pistol in the wall, and nobody knows to this day who shot who or why or where that came from or why it was hidden in the wall. So yeah, there's
Wow. Your childhood's like Dallas. It's really weird. Nobody knows who shot who.
well, my childhood was spent being bounced
Well, it's
around.
like Dallas meets David Lynch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weird other stuff, and you did talk about it in your act.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I like about your act. And that, when I had you on my show, if we fit right in, it was like we had like three or four of the deepest, darkest comedy sets right in a row that you've ever heard,
Oh yeah.
including mine. I put out a comedy album. Somebody that Chris Gore actually was on my show, and he said I didn't even know where to laugh. There's so many stories, and compared to your set, it was like a virtual joke fest. But you,
Really?
yeah, but you had, but you had, you really laid it really deep and brought it back and made it really funny.
That's what I was trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
The story, it was what Mark's talking about is I told a joke because when I was 8 years old, my dad says I was born locked out of the closet. Okay. Because from the time I could walk and talk, all I did was act, behave like a girl, wanted girls' toys. I mean, instant from birth.
right.
And so he got this bright idea that he could straighten out the swish in my walk when I was 8 years old. And this is the story I told. And he brought me to this doctor, and the doctor literally, it was like fucking Forrest Gump. The doctor put me in those leg brace corrective shoes to try to force me to walk in a straight line like a boy. But it only made it worse because it was, I mean, the swish didn't go away except I had these clangy damn shoes on correcting my walk. So,
Right.
anyway, he failed in that experiment,
I can see that.
needless to say.
Wow, I didn't see that's medieval, like,
Yeah, that was
crazy.
the deeper layer of that story that I didn't go into. I kept it on the Forrest Gump bit to keep it funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I'm sure it hurt.
It did. And especially when, shortly after that, he told me, you know, when you grow up, you're gonna do one of two things. You're either gonna be gay or you're gonna marry a black woman. But either way, you're just gonna humiliate me. And I was 8.
Oh.
So, here's where I love karma.
Okay.
Not only did he end up with a transsexual daughter, because I don't really like that new transgender umbrella thing, but
Okay.
not only did he get that, my little brother just married a beautiful, beautiful black woman with her master's degree, going for her PhD. So, you know,
So
be
his,
careful what you wish for.
his worst nightmares came true. Now, where did you get the black woman from? What's that? He was
I,
just trying to think of something that.
I guess because we were so deeply Southern,
Mm-hmm.
like in the neighborhood I lived in, and the school, I was going to Catholic school, and it was like 6 white kids
Right.
to like 24 black kids to each
Okay.
class. And so all of my friends were black, mostly. But I was told immediately, because I was living, my mother had abandoned me one of the several times, and I ended up at my grandmother's.
Right.
And I was instantly told by my dad, never are you allowed to bring a black kid over here to play at your grandma's house. Don't bring them in the house. You can go to their house,
Right.
but they can't come in here.
Hmm.
It's from that I mean, that's why one of my jokes is that I talk to my dad and he says, why do you feel the need to try so hard to make us sound like a pack of bigoted rednecks? And I always say, I don't have to try. I don't have to
That's
try
not
hard
very
at
hard
all. You do it all for yourselves.
Well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you something that somebody asked me.
Okay.
I've got a friend who's transitioning from a woman to a man,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a weird exchange on Facebook, where I said, and I've said this on the show too, that most of my friends are women. I've always really related to women. I'm not, and I love my father, I love my mother. I have strong role models in both directions. I've never been like a sports rah-rah macho kind of guy. I've always hung out with women. And she said, well, why don't you transition? But I have no desire to transition.
Yeah.
Now, you always had the desire to.
I really, honestly, this is how sick religion gets sometimes, but my family is deeply, deeply Roman Catholic.
Right.
Strict. And so in the Catholic school and stuff, you know, kids started making fun of me because my mother, when I was in her care, I came to my grandmother emaciated with all my ribs showing and malnutrition. And so I got fat really fast living
Mhm.
with my grandma. And other kids at school started teasing me saying, you're pregnant. When are you going to have your baby? Why do you have boobs? And because I was in the church so much hearing about the Immaculate Conception,
You thought you were pregnant.
honest to God, at 9 years old, I thought, that's it. I must be secret, like that's going to be the one that proves to the world that it's him, because it'll be for me.
Yeah.
You thought you were the Virgin
I
Mary.
thought I was pregnant with Jesus for like a year. That's how bad that it digs in your head, you know, and some of the, anyway. When you're not who you're supposed to authentically be,
Right.
and you're in that setting, it can play mind games beyond control.
So when did you free yourself and start wearing women's clothing?
Okay. I was in the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I'm going to ask Candice and Hannah this in
Yeah.
a second.
I was in the I was in the 8th grade, and it was Mardi Gras, and we had a costume contest, and Boy George was huge.
Yeah.
And so I told one of my friends, look, I really want to do a Boy George costume. Will you do my makeup? I don't look a fucking thing like Boy George. So I just ended up looking like a girl. And then in my last class of that day, I was in 7th period, and this mean girl was like sitting one row over and back, and she kept saying, why are you wearing all that makeup? Are you a faggot? are you a faggot? Why do you keep doing that? So, one of the team leaders of the football team at our school was sitting behind